Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarium Mind podcast. Today's podcast, episode number 118. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's obviously Mondays with Mello, and today we're talking about people wanting to write a book. So, this discussion is more of, so you want to write a book, huh? All right, quick quote before we start. Writing a book isn't an easy process, nor is it always enjoyable, but it is one of life's most satisfying achievements by Guy Kawasaki. So, just a little quote for you guys before I get started, and here we go. Now, seems like these days everyone wants to write a book, but here's the question that I tend to ask people a lot of times. Are you ready? Because it's not easy. And if you think it is, it really isn't. Everyone looks at how many books I've written and all of the things that I've written about and the content, all that stuff, but it's all a process every single time I do it. It's not easy. It's creating the ebook and then also doing the paperback, and then somewhere along the lines you decide if you're going to do an audiobook or not. But anyway, so with writing a book, there's the brainstorming, thinking of the storyline, the characters you're going to have in the book, the backstory, the synopsis, the book covers, writing the book, editing, formatting, then publishing it, marketing, promotion, getting book reviews, the price of the ebook, the price of the paperback. And then, like I just said, are you creating an audiobook? So are you recording it yourself, or are you paying someone hundreds of dollars to do it? Are you paying people to do your book cover, editing your book, formatting it, or are you doing it yourself? Too many people will go to an author and say they want to publish a book. How do I do it? And my first question is have you even written the book yet? And when the answer is no, well, there isn't much to talk about. Now, if you've started it, I'll tell you that you have to do certain things. Now, if you choose to go the self-publishing route, I'm all ears. I'll help you. I'll do whatever I can. I tell people the self-publishing route because that's what I know, and getting a book deal, well, it doesn't interest me, and it never will. And that's for numerous reasons. And, well, I'm just not going to get into all that in this podcast. But most get scared about the process, and they realize this isn't easy at all, and it really slaps them right in the face. I tell people, look, this is what it is. This is the truth. This is how I do it. And they look at me like I'm crazy, but it's okay. I'm used to it. It's fine. It isn't an often occurrence. In 6 years, I would say, I've had about 5 or 6 people ask me the process. I've helped some people get to that place where they've been able to finally publish their book, which is a great feeling. And I don't really look for the, hey, so-and-so helped me. No, that's fine. I'm okay with not getting that type of credit. But the big part of this whole thing is content. And what are you writing about? And, is it going to appeal to an audience? And the one thing I tell people all the time, even when I do like those little interviews for online magazines and things like that, and like websites and stuff like that, people always ask me, what do you tell, young writers that, aspire to, have a career and all that stuff. And here's what I say. Please, 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 for the love of this human race, don't go writing about some subject matter because you want to make money, be a bestseller, and be famous. because you will only be setting yourself up for failure, disappointment, and doom. Write about what you know and are passionate about. That will always bring you the fulfillment in your writing journey. And also, please, I implore you not to go writing about what's trending right now and what's in the market, because I see it way too much, and I just know that a large percentage of these authors are just imitating another author who broke into the market and has achieved success of their own. So then the next person thinks, well, why can't that be me? So please carve your own path, set the standard for your own vision. Like, go down your own road. Like, please do not start doing things that everyone else is doing. If you look at, there are two authors that I will say are trendsetters, and there will never be them ever again. E.L. James and J.K. Rowling. Stephen King is in his own lane, so please don't, think that I'm like slighting that man, because he's been in his own lane since the 70s, okay? So that man is like an icon for life. So I don't even put him in this conversation because he's in his own stratosphere, to put it in a real simple terms. So let's get back to E.L. James, J.K. Rowling. E.L. James wrote 50 Shades of Grey. And she catered to a market that she knew that she could utilize. And she did amazing with it. And she's pretty much an icon at this point in regards to how she did it and how she went about it. And, she, created a book series and it turned into a movie. And, 50 Shades of Grey is just, it's big, right? That's going to live on, for decades, And if you noticed, ever since she went down that road and published her stuff, everyone else has been writing about all of that, trying to write that juicy book. And I only know this because when I go to like websites and stuff like that like help you promote your book and all that stuff, it's all this steamy romance and all that stuff, and that's what's trending, right? But the market changes. It just does. In everything. Whether it's clothing, movies, TV shows, whatever it is, the market changes. If you look at like TV shows, for an example, if you look at the 60s, 70s, 80s, even early 90s, family structured TV. 2000s till now, reality TV. The market changes. Same thing with clothes. Things change. Things are trendy. Things were baggy when I was younger. Now things are tighter. Now that I'm older, I'm more of a fitted person. It's, things change, right? Now, J.K. Rowling. Once again, she changed the landscape of writing. Everybody is trying to write sci-fi stuff and trying to write in that realm of Harry Potter because it's what's trending, and it's because she became a billionaire. I mean, she's not a billionaire anymore. I don't know. Last time I checked, she's not a billionaire anymore because she donated so much of her money and things like that. She didn't like that whole status of billionaire. I know I read about that a few years ago, but she may be back to that billionaire status at this point because, once again, her books turned into movies and things like that. And now everybody gets caught up in, I want to be a best-selling author and I want to have movies and all that stuff. And, it can happen. Not saying it can't, but writing a book is just hard enough as it is, right? Now, if you're going to write a book to entertain, great. If you want to write a book that impacts others, even better. All I'm saying is just do it because you love it. And the awards will reap itself down the road. And, there's nothing wrong with making, there's nothing wrong with, wanting a bestseller status. And it doesn't take a ton of books to get there. It's just you've got to appeal to a certain audience. You've got to get it in the right hands. You've got to get to the readers and things of that nature. But what I would say is always focus on your audience, the readers, the fans who will, enjoy what you write. And just don't feel pressure to finish a book fast, because I see too many YouTube videos and all these, ads and stuff like that of, hey, do you want to write a book in 90 days? And it's just like, that's a rush for a first time author. It just is. Like, it took me quite some time to write The Struggles and Growth of a Man Part 1, which was my first book. Now, it just depends on what's going on in my life and how focused I am and how much time I can allocate to writing. At this point in time, as you're listening to this podcast, I'm writing 5 to 6 days a week, give or take. So that means I can finish a book within 5 to 6 days because I can allocate that time and I can spend 2 to 3 hours a day writing after I work my full-time job. So it just depends on what's going on in your life. I don't have any major obligations. Other people, their lives are different. So the ads and all that, like, finish book in 90 days, we'll help you publish all that stuff. It's just like, it just doesn't sit right with me. And I just don't like that aspect of it. Right? So if you started a book 3 years ago and it's still not published yet, well, I mean, you really don't have any intentions on really publishing that book now, do you? You probably don't. I think you're just writing it as a challenge. Now, if you're going to write a book and you want to get it published within like the, next 9 to 12 months, great, go for it. But you pretty much can do everything within budget and within reason. I mean, you can get a good book cover made on Canva. You can create one yourself. A lot of them are pre-made. You can change the fonts and do all that stuff. That's how I create a lot of my book covers. There's also people on Fiverr who do amazing book covers. They use images from certain, websites, and things of that nature, and they'll create amazing book covers. So I've gone the route both ways. About 90% of my book covers are done by me. The other 10%, which I have said in other podcasts, such as Code Blue, the Code Blue series, America Country Divided, America Under Mind Control, like those books, I've, paid someone to, create those book covers. But the other book covers, such as like the Struggles Growth of a Man series, Kids with Guns series, The World We Live in series, the Private Investigator series, A Woman's Worth series, all of those, plus all of those standalones, like The Man Who Lost His Soul and The World in Ruins, things of that nature. Like, all of those book covers were created on Canva. Kid you not, Canva.com. Like, I literally can go out of my way and find the right book cover that fits what I'm looking for, playing around with fonts and change the book cover's colors and things of that nature, because I'm just a creator and that's what I do and that's what I enjoy doing, right? For formatting a book, you can get someone to do that. Depending on how long your book is, that'll gauge how much a person's going to charge you. But for me, I use a website called streetlib.com. I think I've said that in a previous podcast. It's a really solid website. It's run based out of Italy. So some of the website is in Italian, but you can manage. The majority of it is in English, and you can get it, translated to where it does say it in English. I pay about $8 a month to pretty much have an unlimited tier plan where I can pretty much put any book in there. You plug in, you copy and paste your chapters into and you can create your fonts. You embed your chapters, and you pretty much format your book and put it all together. I think one day I'm really going to go through the process of doing it on YouTube and recording it and then putting it, on YouTube for everyone, to see it and view it and things of that nature. So there's just a lot of things that you can do. You can get radio interviews and, you can kind of go into that. People will give you a list on Fiverr and you can find, radio stations that'll interview you. You can pay into, certain ones, go on people's podcasts, things like that. and do that. You can do a press release. You can write on your own. I've written some on my own, and you learn from other people. People are affordable on Fiverr once again, where you can do your press release and they'll send it out to different, news stations, newspapers, outlets, things like that. So there's so many different ways. I mean, obviously there's social media, but I mean, how much time do you really have to really dedicate to that when you want to write another book? So that's why I kind of go the route of, going other avenues to get myself noticed. And then the biggest part of it is having your books in a local bookstore where you live. People still go to bookstores to buy books. So what I'm saying is if you want to write a book, it's a lot. It's a process. If you want to make this a career, you're going to have to really immerse yourself and dedicate yourself to it until you get to where you want to be. I've been doing it for 6 years as we speak. So just know it's a process. It takes time. Some people get bestseller status on their first book, but then what happens when you get that status early on is what's the next book going to be? And if you don't have that next book planned out, what happens next? You can't live off of that one book forever, and you can't be in that bestseller status forever. You're not going to be top 10 in your books forever either. That's just not reality, which is why I don't strive for the bestseller status. And I'm never going to be that guy that's going to put bestseller on the front of my book cover. That's not what I'm about. And that's me. And that's how I feel. And that's what you feel is best for me and my brand and what I'm doing. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to write a book, it is not easy. It is hard. It is a process. It takes time. You got to be patient with yourself, especially those first 2 to 3 books if you go down that route. And then when you get a good flow with things, everything becomes easy. A lot of things become second nature. And then you start to understand this process and what you have to go through and things of that nature. So, quick little breakdown of what needs to be done to write a solid book. Number 1, eliminate all distractions. Family members, pets, friends, obligations, social media. Number 2, brainstorm, which basically means write everything in a book. And I'm talking every single idea, no matter how dumb it is. And what I will seriously tell you is my book, I Woke Up a Black Man, was 32 chapters I had planned out. I only wrote 20. So I condensed a lot of it. So that's why I say write down every single idea. Number 3, format your chapters and characters. And that includes a backstory. So what I'm saying with that is write down the chapters that you have ideas for and kind of write a few sentences of what you would want to discuss in your chapter and the characters and their growth and the dialogue or whatever it is that you want to do with your chapter. That prevents writer's block. To me, that does not exist to me because I outline every single thing before I write a book. So when I sit down and I write, it's already in my head. I can be in the middle of a chapter and stop and know that when I come back to it tomorrow, I have an outline. So I already know what I'm going to talk about. See what I'm saying? Make it easy on yourself. Number 4, pick a good time to write. Early in the morning, late at night, during your lunch break, at work, whatever time works for you. Just do it. Get down what you need to get down, and that's it. Everyone talks about, you gotta wake up early in the morning and early bird gets the worm. Not for me. I can write a book at night and be very productive. From 6 to 8, 8:30 at this point of my life, easy. Early days, write 10 till 2 in the morning. Used to. Not anymore. Because things change and your life changes. So find a good time that works for you. Number 5, decide how much you want to write daily. Pick your days of the week, maybe your amount of words or chapters or whatever the case is. So you can go into a situation and say, I have 15 chapters. I'll write one chapter a day. That's fine. That means it's going to take you 15 to 20 days to write a book, right? It just depends on how much time you want to put into it and how many words you may want. Or maybe there's a word count you want to do. I don't know. Everyone has their comfort zone, but just figure that out. Pick the days that you want to write. If you know you have certain days that are better than others, pick those days, pick a time. When you're done with everything for the day, if you're going to write at night, sit down at 8 o'clock at night, write from 8 to 10, whatever it is. Number 6, mental focus will be the key to writing good content. So don't stress yourself. I can't even tell you how many times I go on Twitter and people are like, "Oh my God, I can't write today. I'm not motivated." So don't write. Go do something else with your time. You don't have it in you. So when you don't have it in you, what are you going to force yourself to write something that doesn't feel right? Then you go back and edit it and you don't like it? What's the point? Don't stress yourself out. Don't feel obligated to write because everybody else is talking about them, how they're writing and they're doing great things on Twitter. Go at your own pace. People get caught up in too many things of what other people are doing. That's not the goal. Number 7, utilize websites that will help you to format your book covers, book promotions, all that stuff. Utilize the best ones. Fiverr will be your best friend. I will tell you that. From book promotion, book marketing, email marketing, book covers, formatting, synopsis, you can get help with that. Whatever you need, it's there. Number 8, decide what websites you want to publish on and if you're doing paperbacks. I started with ebooks and then moved into paperbacks, and then after a lot of books published, I said, okay, maybe I need to do the audiobook thing. Audiobooks are very hard to record on your own. Trust me when I tell you, it's not easy. And I'll go into that down the road. But, if you're going to do Amazon, you can, but I wouldn't hinder myself on 80% of the market, which is Amazon, apparently. But I would use draft2digital.com, and it's draft, the number 2, and then digital.com, because then you can publish your book to other websites like Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Scribed, Baker & Taylor, Biblioteca, Hoopla. They have contracts with so many other book companies. So utilize that to your advantage. I use the bookpatch.com, company based out of Arizona. And they create some amazing books for paperbacks. And you can also have your ebooks there too. If you record your own audiobooks, you can go with the editing software that you feel is best, whatever works for you. I use an app called AVR to record my stuff, and then I drown out the noise they have a option where you can do noise reduction, and it eliminates all of the noise and all of that. Then you can listen back to it, and then you can save it to wherever you need to save it. If you save it in your laptop, I would get an external drive. Your external drive will carry you through life. 1 terabyte will do enough. It's probably about $50. And you can get that Best Buy, Target, wherever you feel is best. And that's been my go-to. And in audiobooks, you can find a website where you can sell it there. There's Gumroad. There's PayHip, which is what I currently use. And PayHip allows people to post reviews now and all that stuff. So a lot goes into that, which is cool. So you can do all that and go down that road. Number 9, learn the self-publishing business, because you'll make mistakes, and I've made plenty. So learn all that you can and do your research, and don't invest into things that are not going to benefit you. I've wasted hundreds of dollars on things. I don't even tabulate how much money I've wasted anymore because at this point, you just got to cut your losses. And number 10, not every investment will be good. I've made some bad ones, but not costly ones. So I'm not going to say I've spent like thousands of dollars on like one specific thing because I would be a complete nutcase if I did that. But I've spent a couple of hundred on some things that, yeah, didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So finalizing this, marketing and promoting is definitely a given, and it does have to be done daily. But you'll eventually learn that all you need to know, and you'll always continue to pretty much learn things along the way. Never stop learning, always adjust to the market and what value it will bring to you. Because for me, I'm always, working on finding new innovative ways to, reach my audience, things of that nature. So do the work, no excuses, because, if you're making excuses, I'm just going to look at you and realize that you just don't want it bad enough and you don't have mental focus. That's it for me in a nutshell. Just, if you're going to write a book, trust me, if you want to go the self-publishing route, I'm all ears. I'll help you, all that stuff. I am not charging you for anything. And the reason why is because I learned everything on my own. I made the mistakes, took the bumps, took the hits, took the losses in dollars, all that stuff. So now that I'm more comfortable and more established, I'll help you with anything you need to do. Now, if you need me to format your book, that's a different story. That I'll have to charge you a little bit. But anyway, that's my podcast for today. I thank you guys for listening as long as you have, because this was a pretty long podcast and I normally don't go this long. But hey, every once in a while, I got to give you guys all the gems that I've learned. And with that said, I'm gone. Stay tuned for Wednesday's podcast. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.